I now invite Honorable Valmiki Prasad Singh, former Governor of Sikkim and Home Secretary, Government of the Republic of India, to share his reflections on Bhutan. He is a distinguished scholar, thinker, and public servant. B.P. Singh is well known globally as author of the Bahuda approach, which outlines the path towards a harmonious world as against the clash of civilizations. Shri B.P. Singh.
Distinguished friends, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I now share my reflections on Bhutan, the Eastern Himalayan kingdom. Bhutan, its ideals and achievements arouse curiosity and imparts a sense of awe. Nature and its much splendid beauty and Buddhism, along with its rituals, define Bhutan and the Bhutanese way of life. Nature's bounty is a major feature of Bhutan, an incredibly rich vegetation, brilliant butterflies, pheasants, leopards, panthers, monkeys, snakes, and innumerable other animals inhabit the evergreen jungles of Bhutan. And above the clouds, at unexpected heights, shines over the snowy kingdom. It provides enduring attraction not only for the tourists, but also for different groups of people, ranging from botanists and mountaineers, authors and painters, monks and priests, civil servants and surveyors, authors and painters, merchants and nomads, archers and tantrics. All of them and many more have come to Bhutan, and several among them have reflected upon their experiences. And yet, the natural beauty of Bhutan remains to be completely unraveled. In Bhutan, the natural and the mystical world coexist. It was the genius of Padmasambhava, also known as Guru Rinpoche, an 18th century Indian Buddhist scholar and master of Nalanda, who went over to Tibet. He set up the first Buddhist monastery at Samye that attracted lectures and bhutias to compassionate Vajrayana Buddhism. A number of legends have grown around Padmasambhava's life and deeds, and he is widely venerated as a second Buddha across Tibet, Nepal, Bhutan and Sikkim. No wonder that his idol finds a place alongside that of Buddha in several monasteries in Tibet, Nepal, Sikkim and Bhutan. The monarchy was installed in Bhutan in 1907. Bhutan has recently adopted parliamentary democracy at the initiative of the fourth king, His Majesty Jigme Singh Wangchuk. The system of parliamentary democracy with king as a constitutional head is a landmark event in the history of Bhutan. The new system is rapidly taking roots. Bhutan is doing well in several areas of human activity, including nature preservation and harmonious living, education and health care. Bhutan's villages, its passes, tiger reserves and monasteries, as well as textiles and cuisines are distinct. Development programs in Bhutan accord respect to ecology and sustainable development. This is being applauded by everyone. I have had the opportunity to visit and even remotely work for Bhutan during long years of my public service. In June 1964, I joined the Indian Administrative Service, IAS, at National Academy of Administration at Mussoorie. One of my batchmates at the academy was Dado Sering from Bhutan. Towards the end of my training, I was allocated Assam Kara. The state of Assam then comprised of the present Assam and also the states of Meghalaya, Mizoram, and had de jure control over Arunachal Pradesh, then known as NIFA, Northeast Frontier Agency. Nagaland was earlier carved out of Assam in December 1963 as a separate state of the Indian Union. In June 1965, I was posted as Assistant Commissioner Kamrup, Guwahati in Assam. A few months later, in October-November 1965, a wireless message was received from Shillong, the capital of undivided Assam, that His Majesty Jigme Dorji Wangchuk, the King of Bhutan, was visiting Daranga Mela in Tamilpur circle of Kamrup district, and that the Deputy Commissioner was to receive him on the borders of the district. My Deputy Commissioner, Kusum Kumar Fukan, asked me to get ready for the occasion. K.K. Fukan started searching for his bandgala and expected me to do the same, as the visit was slated for the next day. We dressed for the occasion. Meanwhile, the protocol officer of Assam too arrived from Shillong with gifts to be given on the occasion to His Majesty. It was a few hours' journey, but the patch of the road from Ragia to Daranga was very dusty. After washing our faces at the dark bungalow, Tamilpur, we proceeded to receive His Majesty. Fortunately, it was not a long wait on the borders. His Majesty arrived with a retinue of his staff. After exchange of greetings and gifts, we took him round the Mela, where he showed keen interest in handicrafts and inquired from the farmers and craftsmen about their welfare. We also hosted a lunch in his honor at the dark bungalow and saw him off in the afternoon. This was for the first time that I was face to face with a monarch. Till that date, my knowledge was confined to books, although the King of Nepal frequently visited Bihar, my home state, but I never interacted with him. I first met His Majesty the King of Nepal only in New Delhi for the first time in the second half of 1970. 4 years later, I came to know a great deal about Bhutan from Nari Rustamji ICS, my Chief Secretary, who had earlier worked as advisor to the government of Bhutan during the reign of His Majesty King Dorji. Our dialogues revolved around the royal family and about development works in Bhutan, including establishment of a school and a center for training of officials in which Rustamji had taken interest. It may be mentioned that the government of India always recognized Bhutan as an independent country. It was in 1949, India and Bhutan signed a treaty of peace and friendship, which provided that India would not interfere in Bhutan's internal affairs, but would guide its foreign policy. Bhutan also became a member of the United Nations in 1971. 5 years later, I became Deputy Commissioner of Dharam with headquarters at Tezpur. Mangaldoy subdivision under my charge, then and now headquarters of a new district, had borders with Bhutan. During 1971-72, the Bhutanese in large numbers, including traders, frequently visited the village huts in border areas of Mangaldoy. In 1973, I became Deputy Commissioner of Kamrup and revisited the Daranga Mela to revive my old memories. I became very fond of spending some time inside the Manas Forest Reserve, and which then came under my charge. Manas was a national park spread over roughly 500 square kilometers, is situated on the foothills of Bhutan in the northwestern part of Assam. The river Manas, which is one of the major tributaries of the Brahmaputra, enters the plains of Assam here and meanders through the protected park. Manas was declared a sanctuary as far back as in 1928 and a tiger reserve since the launch of Project Tiger from 1973. The reserve forest of Manas had a beautiful bungalow overlooking the Manas River, and Vivek Devroy, the conservator of forests, was an outstanding member of the Indian Forest Service and a very pleasant person to talk to. My wife, as well as my children, enjoyed the surroundings immensely. On one occasion, Devroy came and told me that His Majesty the King of Bhutan, Jigme Singh, who succeeded after his father, King Jigme Dorji, untimely passed away on 21st July 1972, would like to have lunch with him. Bhutan government also had a bungalow on the other side of the Manas River. We crossed the river, which was very shallow at that time, in November 1974 by boat, and climbed the hill to be in the company of His Majesty. His Majesty was then a very young person, and we too, both Devroy and I, were in our early 30s. We had lunch and pleasant conversation. The young king was full of ideas regarding modernization of Bhutan. He matured very rapidly, both as a statesman and a visionary. I came to know more about him later when I moved to New Delhi, first to work in the Ministry of Defence in 1975. One of my tasks as Deputy Secretary Director in the Defence Ministry related to training of soldiers and officers of the Royal Bhutan Army, RBA. My counterpart in the Ministry of External Affairs was J. Daulat Singh of the Indian Foreign Service, who rose to become India's ambassador abroad. The director of the Intract was Brigadier Dapinder Singh, who later became Lieutenant General and Army Commander of the Civil Command of the Indian Army. The Bhutan Army was headed by Maxi Lam Dorji, who too became a general and head of the RBA. Incidentally, we four became friends. As is with all IAS officers, I too moved on to other assignments and lost day-to-day touch with Bhutan affairs. It was only in 1997-99, as Union Home Secretary, I was dealing with Bhutan again and had opportunity to meet His Majesty on several occasions. My friend and batchmate, Davo Seding, by then had become ambassador of Bhutan in India. He commanded enormous respect, not only in Bhutan, but was also very popular in diplomatic circles in New Delhi. From Home Ministry, I moved to Washington, D.C. as Executive Director and Ambassador at the World Bank. I had the privilege of representing not only India, but also Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and of course Bhutan. This assignment took me to Bhutan, and I could see the development projects there, which were executed by the Government of India and also by the World Bank, particularly in areas of education, civil aviation, and communications. In a very significant development, His Majesty Singh decided to hand over the reins of Bhutan to his son, the present king, Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, on 14 December 2006. This is a unique case where a healthy and wise father gives up power and position to his son. The former king must be very happy, both as a father and as founder of democratic governance in Bhutan, that this new arrangement is working very well under the present king. I have been interacting with the present king, His Majesty Jigme Khesar Namgyal Wangchuk, from his days of association with National Defence College. He is well aware of his role as a constitutional monarch as outlined in the Constitution of Bhutan. In his conversations, the present king shows deep understanding of global affairs and maturity well above his years. It would be appropriate for me to mention that as Governor of Sikkim during 2008-2013, I felt myself in greater physical, emotional, and spiritual proximity with the developments in Bhutan and the people of that country. Reflecting upon the situation in the eastern Himalayan region in the majestic surroundings of Rajbhavan Gangtok, I could see that the spread of education has increased manifold the capability of the population to interact with economic, political, cultural, and administrative organizations, and these organizations themselves are multiplying in number and widening their areas of operation. Since 1982, television has rapidly emerged as an important agent of change, and yet geographical contiguity, ethnicity, and religious links continue to provide a commonality of approach in dealing with challenges of modernization, technology, and globalization. I have been witness to these developments from close quarters and have seen people's responses in Gangtok and Peli, Kalimpong and Darjeeling, Paro and Thimphu, responding with unique similarity in tackling the problem of change. The folklore and folk tales of democracy coexist with those of religions and their rituals, instruments of music and technology, and laptops and mobile phones. Ladies and gentlemen, Bhutan is famous in the world for its concept of gross national happiness. For long, sensitive minds have felt that the gross domestic product, GDP, is not the true indicator of progress and development. In this context, the idea of gross national happiness was conceptualized by the former king of Bhutan, Jigme Singh Wangchuk, and had identified important elements like psychological well-being, health, education, time use, cultural diversity, and living standards as its essential components. By putting emphasis on family, community, and faith, the GNH concept tries to create an environment for the people to practice and experience the benefits of modern science as well as the spiritual values. Friends, during the last 5 decades and more of my public service, what has impressed me most is gradual transformation in the conditions of people of Bhutan. For they have moved towards betterment in all respects: education, healthcare, gainful employment, and rise in per capita income. There is tremendous faith in the people of Bhutan as well as their government in upholding the tradition of respect for nature. No wonder the constitution of Bhutan, reflecting the wisdom of their people, have provided for maintenance of 60% of land as forest. Friendship with India is an article of faith in the people of Bhutan. So is the situation in India. There is harmony between monarchy, democracy, culture, and administration in Bhutan. So long as these phenomena remain vibrant, Bhutan will continue to prosper and also be a shining example of peace and happiness in the world. I thank you for your attention.
I thank Shri B.P. Singh ji for sharing his reflections on Bhutan with us.